Okay, we're nearly there. I just want to talk about general formatting that's expected of an APA report. Now, it is true that APA allows quite a few different fonts these days. You can look them up on Academic Writer if you want, but the safest bet and the oldest, most traditional format is to use a Times New Roman 12-point font throughout. So just do that would be my recommendation. Double space everything. Each new paragraph needs an indent, except for the abstract, and that the references section has a hanging indent, which is the indent going the other direction. So the author's name is actually hanging out. The introduction doesn't have a title, and you don't need running heads, title pages, keywords, headers, or footers. You don't need that at all. I would avoid most of those things. Just get to the point, answer the assessment question. In terms of word count, I guess that's a rough guide there. It depends on the word count for your assignment. The introduction a little bit longer than the discussion. You really want to avoid long introductions and tiny discussions. I see this in biology reports where the discussion is one paragraph. It's like, what? Well, maybe that's what they do in biology, but in psychology, no, you want things much more balanced out. Don't go the other way though and have a huge discussion and tiny introduction. The introduction has to do a lot more than a discussion, which is why it tends to need a few more words. The sections you ultimately end up submitting will be, first of all, an acknowledgement of any proofreading assistance you had. So a simple sentence like, yeah, my dad, put their name. Who has a degree, put your dad's degree. Read over my assignment once or twice and gave me editing suggestions and so on. Then your abstract, then your introduction, which doesn't have a title, and results with the title results, discussion with the title discussion. I mean, you've got a method section there above results if it's that kind of assignment, but most of the ones I set, you don't need a method. References, and then right at the very end, you've got your AI use declaration. Those are the bits and pieces, all as one file for all that. In terms of your references, understand secondary citation if you are going to use it. War is good, Thanos. But you know what, I read that in the paper by Rogers. So I never read the Thanos paper. I'm not even sure whether it exists or if it's been published in a language that I understand. So only Rogers appears in your references list. In terms of, and it's only direct citations within your report. So if you're doing one of my assignments where you've only got 2 or 3 set references, your references list is going to consist of 2 references, or however many set references there are. Look, the formatting can be a bit fiddly. I'll give you a tip. You can use EndNote just to do the whole thing, or you can find the paper on the library website, which you might have had to do anyway when you're finding the paper. Click on this little thing here, the inverted commas, and make sure you've got APA selected there. And the library will give you the APA formatted references. You just copy and paste that straight into your references list. Okay, saves you a lot of time there if you don't want to use EndNote. So by this stage, hopefully I've convinced you that the old-fashioned way, many of you might have written reports or essays or assignments where you've got one blobby thing and you're just changing it, editing it relentlessly, is far inferior to the method I've tried to promote for you, which is clear notes, thinking carefully about how past research relates to our research, drafting your introduction before you look at the results, completing the results section, shouldn't take long at all, and then the discussion, and then keeping all that raw input the hell away from AI, and then maybe using AI for some final polishing if you want to. And backing up and saving all of that stuff. That's how I think you should be writing a research report and an honours thesis and a PhD in 2025. That's the method of writing I highly recommend. You have a beautiful record of authorship. Taking notes is thinking. Taking notes in your own words is thinking through what is important and what isn't. This whole process is a thinking process, a creative process. Does this make sense is what I'm putting together. Does it make sense? Avoid AI just generating something that looks quite pretty from a distance, but the moment the marker starts reading it, oh dear Lord, well that went nowhere, and we never heard of that reference ever again. It's a mess, okay? Don't do that. Follow these clear steps, and hopefully you will write a really good report. Good luck with it.